Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk about the Action House. The last time I talked about it, I was very hated for it. The majority of people didn't like what I say, but I stand by my words. Well, ignore this anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. That's just another book. I mean, at this point, it's just a meme. I think I wasn't clear enough the last time, and maybe a lot of people took it the wrong way or something. I'm just gonna try to clarify and maybe just have a different approach so that you can understand what I mean. I'm gonna try not to take too much time to explain it. Think about this in a different way. First, your money equals time, right? So you need time to make money. And your time is actually part of your life. So your life is limited. So any time you have can be valued in some way. You can use money as units to measure the value. I know it sounds a bit cynical, but in the end of the day, yes, your time is actually your life. And so if you say that money equals time, you can also put the price yourself for your own life. Why say this thing? I know it sounds a bit crazy when I talk about it. It's just about a video game. Realistically, if you go here, we're just gonna do a small check here. This is the currency, right? As you can see, for 100 euros, you can get 6,000 loosened. I'd say one archboss weapon right now. Let's just check it out. So this one costs almost 60,000, 55,000. Another one would be, this one is 80,000. So that's like over 10 times. Let's just say 10 times for the sake of it. So if it's 60,000, then you're gonna have to spend about 1,000 euro to get around 60,000 loosened and just buy one weapon. I'm not gonna talk about that. This is not even that worth it. I mean, for this amount of loosened, you can probably have 3 complete builds. I'm saying this because in a couple of months, we're gonna get tier 2 gear. And from what you can see from other channels that actually made a review on the weapons and the gear and all that, basically regular weapon that's tier 2 will be just as good as an archboss weapon right now. What that means is that in only a few months, imagine you spent a few thousand on this game and now basically they're just shitting on you, really, because now all that money is wasted. And now you're gonna have to either buy it again or just stay with it, but you'll be suboptimal. I would get it if it would took about 1 or 2 years and a whole expansion is released and so on, and you continue the grind, fine. But this is only a couple of months. And I keep saying that this game seems to be unfinished. The way they released it is like the game was not finished. But why I say this is you can easily check for, let's say, not even 1,000, let's just say 500 euro. You can go on the Steam market and basically buy, I don't know, maybe 10 games on sale, probably even more, 10 like AAA games, and have way more playtime, like actually play for a lot longer. You're gonna have huge variety of games versus spending that much money on a single game, and just in 3 months, your money is wasted, right? This leads to the next thing I want to say. I believe it's a generational issue. Ask yourself one question. Do you see games as service or as product? This could lead a little bit to this kind of like conspiracy and all that stuff with the New World Order, and you know what they were saying. You own nothing and you'll be happy. So this is kind of a way to apply this, right? So you own nothing, so you don't own the game. You still spend money on it anyway, just in a different way, but you don't own it. So it's just a service in a way. Because if you spend so much money, I'm not even talking about 500, this is just an example. You actually need to spend a few thousand to get max geared. And in the end, in just a couple of months, this money is kind of wasted and there's no way for you to refund. When you go out there and buy a product and spend that much money, you have at least a couple of years of guarantee, right? That the product is not going to be broken, or you know, if it breaks, they'll just repair it and so on. Back in the days, the way I think, and probably a lot of people around my age have that same mentality, is we see video games as products, which means that when I buy it, I would expect to be able to use it at any time, as long as I keep it in good condition, right? Let's assume it's a CD, or back in the days, even more old school, when you have consoles with cartridges, right? These things are probably gonna last for a century or something. So basically, I could buy this and just leave it somewhere, like play it for a while, leave it, and maybe after 1, 2, 3, 5 years, I decide, hey, I want to play this game again, you know, just for nostalgia, right? This is the way I see it. It's just a product. But with these modern games, so this is not just Throne and Liberty issue. It's just an example. I'm going to get back to Throne and Liberty just in a moment. Bear with me. With these games, this is not a product anymore. It's just a service. And you're going to spend a lot of money, probably more than what you'd spent many years ago, not because of inflation, just as sheer value. Because right now, again, you can spend the same amount of money and buy half the games on Steam. And even as service, they're still way better. But here you just play one game, and the trick is that the game is free to play. This is the tricky thing. This is how they hook people. This is all old news. It's not something new that I'm saying. It's just to think about it. I'm just reminding you to think about it. And I think this is the main issue. If you see the games as products or as service, so ask yourself this thing. That's my kind of like my question to you. So let's get back to Throne and Liberty. I would assume that most of the people that hated the video last time that I talked about the Action House probably going to be the same. They're going to hate this video today because they were some of the first wave that started playing the game, and they actually had a huge advantage. They actually made it possible for themselves to earn a lot of Lucent up front, and now they're still kind of like still benefiting from this. I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's fine. You have advantage. You made a lot. This is great for now. For some people, not for too many people. You're going to see a trend that is going on. Not only that all these items are going down, so for anybody that starts later, it's going to be less valuable to get any of these items and just sell them, right? But then you think, but that's okay. It's also more accessible to new players. There is one issue, however. I believe that the Action House is bound to crash at some point. It's inevitable, and it's gonna drag the whole game down. There's one big problem with it that you may assume as the prices go down, these items will be more accessible for new players. It sounds like that. However, you can see the numbers right there on Steam, and the players are going down. Like, you get less and less players playing the game every single day. And there are other issues, not just the Action House. A lot of people actually defend the Action House, but for one reason or another, the players are going down. Basically, the main problem for me, and I believe for many people, is the Action House is premium currency only. This means that the only way to trade is if you actually buy the currency. And a lot of free-to-play players have earned that currency through trading, but at some point, you gotta realize that it all depends on pay-to-win players. So if you don't have pay-to-win players to actually buy Lucent, then the Lucent cannot be generated in the game, because this is the only way to get Lucent. So basically, the whole Action House and the whole trading system in the game depends on pay-to-win players. And obviously, as the general player base goes down, pay-to-win players will also go down. And at some point, you can see a lot of these items. Right now, you see things that are way more expensive. Like, this is a field boss weapon. Also, this is actually the best field boss weapon you can get for sword right now. This was way more. All these items. Probably the only exception will be archboss weapons, but again, those are for like less than 1% of the people anyway. You can go down, just look around these. Like, at some point, even if all those weapons, or most of them, become 10 Lucent, that's the minimum price for non-stackable items, they will become around that price because nobody's going to buy them. Even if they have a super low drop rate, nobody's going to buy these items. So at some point, they will reach the bottom. You would think, that's great. Everybody can just get them and just gear up. And tier 2 will come, so whatever. But the problem is, if you don't have pay-to-win players to generate Lucent, then even if this costs 10 Lucent, there will be no way for you to generate Lucent. There will be no way for you to get Lucent because nobody's going to buy the things you're selling. And a lot of these extra steps, I just always call them extra steps because it's a bit ridiculous to me. But things like, for instance, the Enchanted Ink and the Trade Extraction Stone will basically become obsolete because even if you have thousands of these, there will be no way for you to make Lucent out of these because nobody's going to buy those things. If there are no pay-to-win players, nobody would be able to generate Lucent, and therefore you won't be able to even trade with other free-to-play players. A lot of the people just use the leftover Lucent they have, and at some point, it's going to be gone. The less and less people playing the game. You could use the argument that, every once in a while they will release a new content and more people come up, but generally speaking, the rate at which they lose players is going to be way higher than the rate that they can gain players. So at some point, even with tier 2, you may see something like just for a little bit, some people will come and check it out. And a lot of the pay-to-win players will be mad as hell, even if they're rich, because the thousands of dollars they spend, thousands of euros, whatever, is going to be completely useless. You can check the basic stats of these weapons. This costs like 1,000 euros based on this price. And this is just user price, right? This is just for this weapon. The average weapon, like the average epic tier 2 weapon has higher stats than this. And you can easily get them. Like, the only unique thing about these would be just maybe one stat line or the passive, obviously. But it's gonna be pretty nasty, honestly. So a lot of those systems will be obsolete. You won't be able to make Lucent. Everything will be super cheap, but you still won't be able to buy anything because you won't be able to get Lucent anyway. And this will lead to the next question. I've said that before as well. It's a complex thing. It's not just one thing, but there could be multiple different things they can do to completely change the whole system, but that also relates to their business model, and that's way too big. Usually when they start like that, they can only go worse, right? I haven't seen many games that actually make things better. It's probably just a very small percentage of games that actually change their whole business model to actually improve the game. Again, some people say, why play it if you don't like it? You get me wrong. I do like the game. That's why I'm doing these videos, because I like the game. I see that it has potential. It's actually a very good game, and it could be some of the top games. But the only thing that pretty much drives most of the players away is the action house. And if they fix those things, if they fix their whole business model, not only is this going to drive more people, but then you can say the other problems are the bugs and all that. But if they drive more people to the game would have higher revenue. And when they make more money, they can afford to actually work a bit harder on the game and improve those bugs and things like that much more efficiently. So it's all connected, really. Then we can also think about, like, are those bugs actually bugs, or they were just intended? Because every single time you get more and more bugs, and they all seem to be super simple, super like small things, but they're really there to just annoy you. So it makes you wonder, is it really an accident, or is it on purpose? I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I expect anything, man. So some of the solutions are obviously no premium currency action house, right? Just like every single MMO before that, use the Solent, like use the base currency in the game, which is Solent/gold anyway. Also, the next thing would be make most items tradable, again, just like any other MMO. Now, you really just bounce to a couple of materials, some food, and majorly just items, gears, and traits. That's it. And yet so much more. And another thing would be to make some of the top tier weapons account bound. So this would help a lot with bots and just generate any kind of service that sells in-game currency and things like that, which is super lame. I don't even know if they're trying to take this down, or they're like silently promoting things like that, behaviors like that, because we've seen so many bots in the game, and these things really help with that. Like, if there are no tradable archboss fragments, there'll be no point to see fishing bots. And the premium currency should just basically be used for cosmetics or convenience stuff, just for that anyway. And I've seen so many games that actually use this kind of model, and it works so well. And obviously, in the end of the day, you say, well, how are they going to make money if it's just for cosmetics, things like that? Well, again, very similar games. Even NCSoft themselves actually publish another game, Guild Wars 2. And it's exactly like that, with one difference. They actually have a price tag. The game is actually paid to play. It's not completely free. You can only play the core game for free, but you have to buy every single expansion, and that's recommended anyway. And the game is actually in the top lists of MMOs. And there are probably millions of players playing Guild Wars 2, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's very casual. It's the actual business model. They don't have to make the game super casual, but they can actually put a price tag on the game, remove a lot of the pay-to-win things, and I can guarantee you 100% this is going to drive a lot of people in the game. That's basically some of the solutions. Again, a lot of people could probably hate me for that, but I'm just trying to be as clear as possible. And that's it. I mean, I don't think that the premium currency should be so much entangled with the in-game systems. If there is premium currency, not every single player should have access to it, and it shouldn't be used for the most important things in game. It should be a supplementary thing. It shouldn't even be the main source of revenue for any game, honestly. And you can see that by the player base. You can check any other top MMO. None of them do that. All the top MMOs that have premium currency only use it for cosmetic stuff or convenience stuff. And most of these games have a price tag on them as well. So I would much more prefer to actually buy the game, spend money every 1 or 2 years for expansions, things like that. And every once in a while, you could just buy cosmetics and things like that or whatever. But you think, hey, they're not going to make a lot of money. Well, if you have 1 million players that actually buy the game, you're going to make a lot of money up front. And then how much money are they going to keep making from pay-to-win players, from whales, if the game goes down in just a couple of months? It's been, what, 3-4 months? And now you see it's down to 50,000 players or less. It was probably 5 times more on launch. That's only for Steam anyway, probably a bit more players with the consoles, but still. And it's only going to keep going down. It's going to drag the whole game down. Everything is going to drop and it's going to freeze. There will be no activity on the fucking action house. But yeah, I hope that people understand what I'm trying to say. You know, I totally get it. Somebody get offended somehow, or, you know, they like it because they actually had advantage. But even the people that had advantage from the first couple of months, they will also suffer from that at some point. It's inevitable. And even if you have your last few thousand lucent on your account, at some point everything is just gonna go down and you won't be able to make any more lucent. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for supporting my channel. No hard feelings about the game. I actually enjoy it and I see that it has potential. Just give it a try anyway. You're still gonna have some fun for a while, but honestly, if this keeps going like that, I don't see it surviving for long. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you soon.